Hello, I'm Janet Hogan, creator and founder of the Fifth Door program. Do you ever find yourself feeling a little bit out of sorts with life? Like you're really not sure what the next step is. You need a little bit more clarity. You just really don't know what you're even doing with your life. I know I've certainly felt like that. And sometimes what helps is to have some kind of device or tool or metaphor to actually help us get outside of our life and look back onto it. It's a little bit like if you can imagine going to the movies and instead of being in the movie, you're actually watching yourself on the screen, but while you're sitting in the audience. Does that make sense? So that's kind of what I want to share with you today. Just a device to help you understand a little bit more fully where you are on balance. So let's just imagine that there are 5 doors. Okay, so doorway number 1 is the worst imaginable life. Whatever that means for you. It could be that you are suffering from some kind of chronic disease, or something has happened to you, you've lost your job, gone bankrupt, you've lost someone close to you, could be divorce. Whatever that is, it's like the lowest point in your life. And that's why we call doorway number 1 living hell. Okay, so a lot of people say, yeah, but I don't want to imagine even, that doorway number 1. But the problem is when we run away from the worst case scenario, it tends to follow us. It's almost an invitation to make that happen. And that's why it's so important that we do confront this and we do know that that option is out there, because that's when we become powerful. So living hell, that's doorway number 1. Okay, so you might be wondering, all right, does it get better from there? Fortunately, it does. And that brings us to doorway number 2. Now, doorway number 2 is a life of total compliance, where you've taken no risk and you just live a very conforming life according to the expectations of those around you. So society's expectations, it could be the expectations of your parents, your peer group, the religion, your culture. And it's essentially a life, but it's not a life of your own making. In fact, sometimes it can kind of feel like you're living on a treadmill of your own making, and that's precisely what that door is called. That's treadmill. Fortunately, after 1 and 2, there are 3 more doors, right? So doorway number 3 is where you start to break away and take life into your own hands. So you might have taken some kind of risk, whatever that was. You might have started up your own business, you might have moved countries, you might have engaged in a partnership or a marriage with someone that no one approved of, but you said, what the hell, I'm going to do it anyway. It's almost like there was a little spark inside of you that said, I'm not going to be like everyone else, I'm going to break away from the pack and craft my own life. The problem with that is that even though we think it's going to be, a highway up to the stars, it's very seldom, if ever, like that. In fact, what happens with this doorway number 3 typically is that life is a series of ups and downs. And that's why we call this life, which I know so many people experience, me included. We call this one roller coaster, because that's precisely what it's like. And we wonder if we can ever get off this particular roller coaster. Some people do. Some people kind of make it to doorway number 4. So doorway number 4 is where you actually get it all. Whatever it was that you thought you wanted, we all set goals, and then there are people who achieve those goals. And, it could be the mansion on the water. It could be, the perfect family. It could be, a solid relationship that on the outside looks absolutely perfect. But the problem with this life is that although to others it might look like you have everything, what commonly happens when all those things that you've acquired are outside of you and they've brought them into your life, you get to the top of this mountain only to feel total emptiness. And I know because I've been here. I call this doorway, this particular door we call Doorway number 4 is pipe dream. That expression comes from the opium dens, right? When people in Asia would be smoking their opium and having kind of delusional fantasies. And when you think about it, this perfect life that is based on the expectations of others, society's expectations, but not our own actual needs, is a delusion. And you can only understand the strength of that delusion, unfortunately, when you actually get through to doorway number 4. And that's precisely what happened to me. After 30 years of working nose to the grindstone over so many businesses, with my partner Ralph, we ran restaurants, an advertising agency in Sydney, Australia, multi-million-dollar real estate business and project, working so hard, 7 days, and to the point where I finally got everything that I thought I wanted: the waterfront mansion, the beautiful family, the rock solid relationship, social kudos, to an outsider. It looked like the paradise that most people would aspire to: private beach next door, palm trees, nirvana. But I'll never forget the day when I stood back and looked at everything we owned. And instead of feeling that promised happiness, all I felt was emptiness. And because I didn't take action at that point, the universe took it for me. And the very next year, it delivered this was in 2008, the global financial crisis. And I went, after my slow, steady climb to doorway number 4, I actually went from here all the way back to here, to doorway number 1. And I stayed there in this living hell for a couple of years. And what I realized, of course, was that getting the material wealth is no guarantee. I eventually made my way out of doorway 1, and I got to doorway 3, where I stayed for a long, long time, trying to figure out how to get off the roller coaster. And I knew that there had to be a better way, that if money didn't buy you happiness, what did? What was the secret to happiness? And I spent 10 years basically attending seminars and workshops, and spent well over $100,000. I've never actually added it up, but I invested a huge amount of time and money into finding the answers. There wasn't one guru or coach or influencer or thought leader who could give me the answers. So what I ended up doing was creating my own program called The Fifth Door. The fifth door, I believe, is the doorway that we all want to walk through. And I know from experience that once you do walk through this doorway, you never go back. You never go back to doorway 1 or 2, 3 or 4. Once you can cross the threshold of the fifth door, where fulfillment lies, where a meaningful life awaits you, this is the place where I call home. And I believe in this concept so much that I now dedicate my life full time to teaching this program to others. So if you're interested to know what a fulfilling life could look like for you, you do owe it to yourself to find out more about the fifth door. Here down below you can find out ways to contact me. But if you're serious about changing your life, and if you know that a mediocre 7 out of 10 life is not for you, that there's a bigger you wanting to get out, to grow, but you just don't know how to access that bigger version of you, then that's my absolute job and my pleasure to guide you to that place where you deserve to be, where you actually discover the potential of who you have to become. And that, I believe, is the richest reward that life can deliver to us.